After a dozen years or so of significant research, who were the original builders of the Giza Pyramid and Sphinx, I finally went to Cairo, Egypt, to the Giza Plateau to visit the Sphinx and the Giza Pyramids, of course, in 2019, November. And at the moment I saw the Sphinx, including the pyramids, and once I walked inside of the bedrock bed that it sits in, the Sphinx itself, touched the two paws, I looked at the lion tail in the back, I had access to the bottom pit, I saw the vertical erosion lines. I knew immediately that the ancient primitive Egyptians 4,500 years ago, 5,000 years ago, crystal clear, they never built it. Even the birds in the sky know that they never built it. And all of the research, significant and tremendous research, remarkable research conducted by experts, world's top, absolute wisest experts specializing in ancient civilizations, brave men such as Robert Schoch and Graham Hancock, Eric van Dinken, John Anthony West, Dr. Samir Osmanagic, the founder of the Bosnian Pyramid, largest pyramid, Robert Bauval, James Gilliland from the Iseti Ranch, Billy Carson, of course, including Rainer Stendelman, the director of German Archaeology Institute of Cairo. They're all correct. They're all identical. Their answers are a reflection of one another. They have one common element. Egyptians never built the Sphinx. Their research is flawless, that they know that the Sphinx is hundreds of thousands of years old. It's fallen apart. It's in a horrible, it's a very, very bad shape. And renovations don't help anymore. The Egyptians never built that Sphinx 4,500 years ago. They didn't even know they lived on a planet 4,500 years ago, just like they did not build the Giza pyramids. They only found these magnificent, mysterious structures and then just claimed it as their own. Egyptians really 5,000 years ago just popped out of nowhere. And everything that was there already, they just claimed as their own. I mean, why do Egyptology, these corrupt Egyptologists, still foolishly claim that the Sphinx or the Giza pyramids were built by them and ignore the obvious fact that past advanced civilizations, going back to the Anunnakis, when Anunnakis and Elohim worked together, that they were there in Egypt way before 5,000 years ago. What's with this Egyptians built the pyramids and the Sphinx? Egyptians have nothing to do with the Sphinx or the Giza pyramids. They cannot prove this. They've never proven it. There's not a single piece of valuable, authentic evidence that they provided showing they built the pyramids, they built the Sphinx. These structures, how did they move the structures? Cut, or these 50-ton stones, 200-ton granite blocks. How were they lifted or cut? Or they're razor sharp with glossy finishes. True purpose of them, no one can explain in Egypt. They're saying it's a burial site for a king? Absolutely not. What's underneath the pyramids? What's underneath the Sphinx? The secrets are not being told. They claim that these brilliant and precise structures were built by primitive slaves and villagers wearing sandals who didn't even have a sewage system built at that time. That's how primitive they were. They didn't even know they lived on a planet, on a rotating Earth planet. No, they had no idea. They had no proper tools, no machinery. They used apparently tiny little hammers and chisels and mud rams and wooden small boats to pull the rocks. This is ridiculous. And it's a ridiculous, laughable lie, a complete hoax, largest historic hoax ever. Egyptology has provided the largest hoax ever, that they build the pyramids. This laughable propaganda by them keeps going on and on and on and on, and the world's buying into it. But I think every research on the planet has already debunked them. Let's not forget that the Giza Pyramid, the Great Giza Pyramid, never had any mummies found on the inside. No mummies were found in the Giza Pyramid. No skeletons, no jewelry, no art, no furniture, no depictions or engravings of anything. No organic life, no organic material, no animals. Nothing was found in the Giza Pyramid. No humans were ever buried in there. It was not meant for humans. It was hermetically sealed in the first place. Corrupt Egyptologists have been lying and purposely hiding the truth, which is that a prior, superior, very, very highly advanced civilization in that very same region, known now as Egypt, built these pyramids as well as the Sphinx. Egyptians at that time, 4,500 years ago, were borderline Stone Age, very primitive, very low IQ, uneducated, and they had no idea they even lived on a planet called Earth, or what the surrounding planets were, or what the latitude line they were on, which is latitude 30. What are the dragon lines, ley lines? They only knew extremely basic math, basic algebra. They did not possess the wheel, no advanced lifting ramps, or advanced cutting technology, any laser technology. They had no cranes, they had no animals to carry the blocks from so far away. They did not possess any iron tools. They had no idea of anything that has to do with advanced engineering, planning, or cutting abilities, including anything that has to do with lasers, any laser technology to precisely cut and smoothly cut those limestones and granite with such a glossy and smooth finish. They had no idea that Giza is precisely located on latitude 30, along with standing heads on the eastern islands, pyramids in Peru, pyramid in the Bosnia, Jordan, Iran, Iraq, Jordan Petra, all of those historic sites, same, latitude 30. Egyptians were never really a progressive society. Their tools were very, very primitive. They never possessed any technology or machinery or ability to even lift the rocks or stones. They had no idea what levitation or teleportation was. They had no idea about dimensions or densities. They lacked all the knowledge of any plumbing, any civil engineering, in any way. The real technological innovation came out of Sumer, not Egypt. And even records clearly showed that Mesopotamia and Sumer were the sources of all intellectual output at that time of the social change 4,500 years ago, not Egypt. Egypt, in fact, 4,500 years ago was so primitive, so very much behind. They didn't even have a drainage system to carry out dirty rain, any dirty water, including sewage. And really, since I've been there in 2019, not much has changed, even now. They have nothing to do with advanced construction machinery or technology to even build their new Cairo museum that was being constructed at the time. There were numerous mistakes. They were 6-7 years behind, triple the budget, multiple mistakes in concrete and rebar and mesh, a variety of different mistakes. When I was there speaking to the Russian and Yugoslavian and Chinese and Canadian and German engineers on site, they were all laughing at the Egyptians. They all also agreed that all the Egyptians, the historians, secretly do possess the ancient knowledge and the scripts obtained from the halls of Amenti, underneath the Sphinx, underneath the pyramids, those corridors, that the Egyptian Giza pyramid and the Sphinx were built way before Enoch time. The corrupt Egyptology hoax theory about who built the Sphinx or what does the Sphinx represent, its real age or its real origin, the real builders, who made it, is a complete lie. Fabricated fake story to boost their tourism. That's it, to boost the tourism, that's the only thing. And their traveling exhibitions, of course, which they heavily charge for. They're charging millions of American dollars all around the world to lend out temporarily Egyptology artifacts such as the Tutankhamun and the Golden Age of the Pharaohs, that exhibition. That earned over $110 million for Egypt during the tour of the 7 cities in Europe and the United States. And that was reported by the Smithsonian magazine in 2013 or 2014. $110 million. So why would they tell the truth? Of course they're not going to tell the truth. There are only one single sole promoter of these Egyptology lies is their own corrupt doctor named Zahi Hawass, the infamous and the failed Egyptian archaeologist who corruption and criminal activity go back years and years and years. It's all over the internet, including his arrest, the criminal arrest and jail sentence in 2011 due to the rigging contracts and the corruption at the new Cairo Egyptian Museum. He's a known corrupt and a very, very deceptive individual down there. The King Tut's DNA that was extracted for testing, he refused. But the Discovery Channel TV obtained and leaked the DNA result proving that King Tut wasn't even Egyptian. He was Western European with 99.6% match to be a Western European. That's why Dr. Zahi didn't allow it, because he knew the truth. It's so unfortunate that our current textbooks and televisions, radio and internet, search engines, encyclopedias, even schools totally misrepresent the true age of the Sphinx or who built it. And everyone just believes Dr. Zahi, but that's completely incorrect. Even today, right now in 2021, with our technology, we have no objective way of even dating the Sphinx because it's just way too old. It's falling apart. It's in a horrible stage. Not a single religious leader, historian, engineer, or fact checker can validate how old the Sphinx really is today with any proof of evidence. The only thing they have to go by is what Egyptology says. Egyptology also claims that the face on the Sphinx is the face of their king Khafre. But that's also a lie. That's a massive lie. That Sphinx has nothing to do with that individual. And at the Museum of Cairo, which I went to multiple times, the face of the Sphinx and the face of the known statue of Khafre are completely two different people, two different beings. Jaws are completely different. Heads are completely different. Cheekbones, eyes, ears, everything. Different heads, different jaws. It's like comparing Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. And just because they're actors, we say same head. Totally same head. No, completely different. So they're lying about that as well. The face of the Sphinx and their king look completely different. Nothing alike at all whatsoever. And numerous police detectives, forensic specialists over the years and years and years, including a very known Detective Frank Domingo of the New York City Police Department, and a former Interpol officer, an agent, retired agent, have debunked this whole Egyptology lie about the whole face thing. There is no resemblance whatsoever between the Sphinx and their king. That's a lie. The jaw of the Sphinx has almost twice the eye to chin angular protrusions. Then that was measured on the statue of this king, Khafre, and a combination of retired detectives, retired dentists, retired doctors, police detectives, and forensics, including orthodontists and other specialists that specialize in plastic surgery, have concluded that the current recurved face is of a black African descent, not a white, not a Caucasian, not even of an Arabic, but black, which is true. Original face of the Sphinx was originally a first time a lion. Then the Egyptians later on recarved it, but not based on a Caucasian, based on a black person. King Khafre's sons never constructed the pyramid or his family. They only found it already built there. They restored it, they recurved the face into today's face, the ugly face that it is today, of course. And they just kind of refreshened the statue. They gave it a little bit of a facelift, some makeup. Original name for the Sphinx actually was Hor-Akti, or known as Hore-Magnet in the New Kingdom, so 1500 to 1150 BC. Another name associated we see today with the Sphinx is Setep, meaning the select, or the Zib-Tepi, aka splendid place, or splendid place of Zib-Tepi, meaning the first time. So golden age, when the gods ruled Egypt, real gods, not 4,500 years ago. Billy Carson, exceptionally talented researcher, shows that over 40,000 years old, the Sphinx, that was the original age. That's based on his research. And there's other 50 or 60 other experts who say that the Sphinx is extremely old. Zacharias Sitchin, who wrote 12 books about the Anunnakis, he also wrote who built the Sphinx and who built the pyramids. And by the way, Zacharias Sitchin had a contact with one of the Anunnakis, and that's external physical contact in third density with one of the brothers. What the Egyptology or Egyptians are not really admitting is that there's also two Sphinx sites, but they won't let us visit the second one, that's for sure. And they're just within a kilometer of each other. Very, 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 very close. The second one holds a lot of secrets. The head at the one that we do see is not the original head. The current tiny, small little human head doesn't match the massive lion body that we see on the Sphinx or the paws. The water corrosion we see on the rear area of the head, as well as the shoulders, as well as the neck, as well as one of the ears, as well as one of the bodies. It's from a mass amount of waterfall, rainfall, constant, called fluvial erosion, caused by a tremendous amount of water moving very quickly over very long periods of time, vertically, not horizontally. These are vertical corrosion lines, not horizontal lines. Sphinx wasn't in some lake sitting there. There's that evidence of vertical water erosion. It's carved very deep. And if anyone looks at the Sphinx enclosure or the Sphinx, the bed itself where the Sphinx sits in, so the stone wall around it, it shows clear evidence of vertical erosion, shows ancient weathering precipitation, erosional features that are incompatible with the last 4,500 years or 5,000 years or even 6,000 years of any climatic history in that region. Geology clearly proves that. Sphinx is way older than 4,500 years ago. I don't even know how they got the 4,500 part. Sphinx was made in the prehistoric times, before the last flood at least. That is 13,000 years ago. Graham Hancock's done years of research on this. The fourth dynasty nonsense, Khafre, Khufu, the Jeffrey, and had nothing to do with it. Just like the slaves had nothing to do with it. Some 120-pound slave wearing a robe and slippers, they're going to be working on a 200-ton stones? I don't think so. It's not how it works. astronomical alignment of the complex and its geology is extremely important to look at. Latitude 30, deterioration, corrosion. In fact, we'll look at a point in time in the Old Kingdom when the Valley Temple, Causeway and Mortuary Temple, Valley Temple was built out of the stone, out of the rock that the Sphinx was placed in. So from the bed itself, these temples, they were built way before the Sphinx. No one talks about that. Sphinx came only later. These temples were built with gigantic, megalithic limestone blocks weighing 50 tons, 80 tons, and some of them 200 tons. And these limestone walls were then clad with smooth-faced granite blocks weighing between 5 to 15, in some cases 20 tons. And the giant limestone blocks of the temples are far, far more eroded than even the Giza pyramid stones. So they are older, tens of thousands of years older, if not more than that. Pyramids came in later. Paying attention to the emerald tablets, we see that this authentic and unique 26,000-year-old text states that the Thoth, Egyptian god Thoth, during the second time of the Anunnaki's arrival here, he built the Giza pyramids, which is true. Thoth and Ra, they built it. These pyramids are exceptionally old. And if we go back in time to two processual periods of the equinox, we arrive at the time that the Sphinx aligned with the Leo constellation, hence the original lion head orientation towards the Leo constellation, and the heart on the Sphinx's chest. This heart right below the chin represents star Regulus. Where's that at? Leo constellation. Sphinx symbolizes age of Leo. It's a strong symbol of esoteric society. The body was intentionally placed in that spot, purposely to face that direction because of a big reason. We are lied to with remarks that the corrosion lines are done by high wind or desert erosion. It's nonsense. Vertical lines, I don't think so. It has nothing to do with floods of the Nile, River Nile. No, that's another lie. We're constantly getting lie after lie after lie. Constant amount of manipulations, these tactics, these methods of deception. How long will this go on for? These deep curves, indents created by nature that run down through the rock have been caused by one thing and one thing only, and that's exposure to very, very, very long periods of heavy rainfall. Sphinx never sat in a lake. He never sat in water. There is no horizontal lines. The problem is that 2500 BC, when the Sphinx was allegedly even built, this was a dry land. There was no water there, bone dry. Climate conditions did not even exist back then. No water existed in that area, none whatsoever. No record of the water even being there. The Sphinx clearly shows severe participation-induced weathering, severe erosion, meaning that the Sphinx, the statue, the Sphinx structure, has been subjected to tens and tens of thousands of years of heavy, heavy rainfall. The study of paleoclimatology suggests to go back approximately end of the last ice age, sort of period of 13,000 years ago, to approximately even find out about the heavy rainfall situation that could have even perhaps caused such a massive line, such a massive erosion lines. Erosion due to the dissolution and recrystallization of calcite and other minerals in the rock is visible, of course, with various different tombs areas and chamber areas cut into the bed of the Giza Plateau. So tremendous water damages and weathering, making these structures tens and tens of thousands of years old, very, very ancient. Let's not ignore the efflorescing of the dissolved and recrystallized minerals and dissolution and recrystallization of calcite. But let me guess, the Egyptians 4,500 years ago knew all of that. Just like they knew how to specifically point the Sphinx towards the Leo constellation and place it on latitude 30 and make no designing mistakes at all. Of course they didn't know that. Most people think that Sphinx also is built on the top of a Giza plateau, on the peak. No. Sphinx was carved out of a stone, bed of stone, out of a rock. And it's lower than the pyramids. It's in a hole. It's inside of a stone bed in a hole. And all of the stone that was ever removed from that bed around the Sphinx, they cut it into huge blocks, perfectly cut blocks. And then they moved it over to the Sphinx temples, just down the road. 2 megalithic temples that stand beside the Sphinx, side by side. That was built first, then the Sphinx came later. The megalithic temples are made from gigantic blocks. They were cut out from around the body of the Sphinx. So approximately 30 feet away around the body of the Sphinx. What technology did Egyptians have 4,500 years ago to do that? None. What lasers did they have? None. What lifting cranes did they have? None. Nothing. They only found the Sphinx already built in, recarved it, and said, we did it. And to this day, they're sticking to this foolishness. Studies of the distribution of fossils within the limestones at Giza has established and already proven that masonry used to construct the Sphinx temples was quarried from within the Sphinx enclosure itself. It was never brought from the River Nile or any other area. Again, that's another lie. The whole pyramid field around the Giza Plateau fits this pattern of stars in the sky. Is that a coincidence? Many psychics, extraterrestrial contactees, fourth density astral contactees, and channelers, of course, talented channelers, interstellar specialists, and so all have expressed the same thing: what Sphinx is, who built it, and how it was constructed. As a contactee, I'm aware how it was constructed. Also, what are the chambers for below it? What portals are located there? What's there within the fourth density? Not third density where humans walk, but fourth density. What are the entrances to inner Earth? What are the civilization that was there before ancient Egyptians? And where do they originate from? Survivors from where? Which technology did they have? Which technology did they bring over because they saved this technology? Edgar Sayce, who expressed clearly the Sphinx and Giza pyramids were built by the surviving Atlanteans, including the areas under the Sphinx, he's absolutely correct. After the fall of Atlantis, the survivors went there. Ancient gods, Ra and Thoth, they built it. To this day, proof that Egyptians claim that King Khafre's name is being particularly half kind of engraved on a broken partial little stone, this little inscription called Dream Stela, that's their proof. That's the only one piece of proof that they have. Another nonsense, manipulated and revised, claiming that their king Khafre built it, and it's laughable. And lastly, the head of the Sphinx had a massive hole entrance on the top. The belly and the left paw also have a hole. Left ear has a hole. So how can these things just be completely made by some primitive Egyptians wearing robes and slippers? Of course not. There are entire structures and cities and halls underneath the Sphinx, proving the existence of ancient civilizations. And also, Egyptians had no experience working with limestone, granite, or cutting abilities or lifting abilities. So this madness needs to stop with this propaganda. They had no ability whatsoever to create travertine stones weighing at 1,000 to 1,500 tons. There were no stone quarries at that time in Egypt. There is none today. And even today, we cannot do that. Never mind do that. Can we move it? No, absolutely not. Can we lift it? Absolutely not. Impossible. Meaning levitation at that time was used. Who brought the levitation over? The Giza pyramids and the Sphinx was constructed approximately 220,000 years ago by the Anunnakis and the Elohim, who worked together at this project. And in English terms, we know these Egyptian gods as Ra, R-A, and Thoth. They used off-planet advanced technology similar to the Atlantean technology with the assistance of the local humans and civilizations, the population, to do just engravings and depictions. That's it. The levitation, the assembly of these stones was done in fourth density. Then they brought that over to third density. The priesthood, the interstellar priesthood at Giza cannot be forgotten. As for the Giza pyramids, they were built as ascension devices, offered wireless technology, wireless energy. They were gold-plated. They biodynamically downloaded consciousness, and they were fully activated capacitors that transmitted energy and electromagnetic frequencies. And these sarcophagus that they found underneath the pyramid or the king's chamber, those were not coffins for some dead person. No, they were used as portals to teleport beings, bring them in or send them out, not as caskets for dead people. Ancient Egyptians, 4,500 years ago, never built the Giza pyramids. They never built the Sphinx. Sphinx is approximately 220,000 years old.